Hello everyone, good morning. Um, Gonna talk about a very important topic here that I emphasize on a lot. It's basically how the things work in market buying and selling, right? So the thing that I'm gonna show you right now is uh, basically how smaller time frames align with higher time frames and um, give you very big risk to reward. Uh, does not happen very often. Happens about once or maximum twice a month. But if you are able to grab these trades, the risk to reward on them is massive. I mean, I'm talking 60, 70 yards. So, provided you have the balls to hold it, honestly, and pardon the language, but it is what it is. Because it's not going to go 60 yard in 1 or 2 or 3 days. It's going to take some time, right? It's if it's this big a movement, it's going to take some time. So uh, that's where your money management comes in. How much you're okay with letting run, how much, where you want to secure profits and stuff like that. Not going to get into that. What I'm going to talk about right now is a very basic stuff that people do not really understand. Probably is explained, but I have not come across a lot of mentors or anyone who explains it in such simple terms, right? You'd hear them talk about liquidity. You'd hear them talk about blah blah blah. I don't know. The liquidity is, really famous these days, but it's more basic stuff than just giving it fancy names. Uh, so this is a currency pair, New Zealand dollar, US dollar, that I have been watching since Monday. Today is Wednesday. I've been watching it since Monday, since the market opened. Uh, Basically took a trade on gold based on the same stuff, but more or less the same stuff, dollar strength. But this, I was really interested in this. Talked to one of the members in the community about it also on Monday. Shared this in the community also on Monday, but it just did not give me an entry. So I'm just sitting here and making an explanation video on a very important topic though. So it's gonna help you. So in this trade, basically 15 minutes in this move, 15 minutes basically lined up with daily, right? So that's how the risk to reward becomes so high, because you're treating a trade as 15 minutes as your bigger time frame, or maybe 1 hour to the max, but it's aligning with the daily. So anyway, if I take you to the daily quickly, I'm going to explain all of this stuff. If I take you to the daily, we can clearly see that this is a new supply that formed on New Zealand dollar, US dollar back in January, mid-January, right? So it's taken its sweet ass time. It's taken about 1.5 months to give the real fruit, but that is how long these bigger trades are going to take, and it's going to go so far, right? So back of the head. I did, remember that today is New Zealand dollar interest rate, and I did mention it to the member that I was talking to about this trade, that it's going to set up for a bigger move with the Kiwi interest rate. Right. Anyway, jumping right into it, we can see that there's a supply up here. So the sell basically starts up there and goes all the way down in there. Right, it's a new seller that came in on the daily time frame, and then it starts to pull back. Is this a lower low? No, it's not. Is this a lower low? No, it's not. Talked about this also multiple times, that if a bigger player is selling, he's going to want to attempt to make a lower low or a higher high. If he fails, that's a different story. I've said it multiple times in my videos on YouTube also. If he fails, that's a different story, but the attempt, it's got to be there. And it's all the same concept that applies on lower time frames also. If you just forget about what time frame this is, let's just say this is 15 minutes time frame, right? This is a 15 minute seller that took over this 15 minutes buyer, and now it's pulling back. Same concept, exactly the same concept, right? But here it's a very big trade that took its sweet ass time to set up. It's going to go so far. So what happened is, what I generally talk about and emphasize on a lot, is that if a bigger player, let's say in this case it's a seller, if a bigger player wants to make money, if this seller wants to make money, he needs buyers to be introduced into the markets. If there are no buyers he can sell to, he cannot make as much money as he wants, right? So if you take a look at this, the seller sold from all the way up to there, all the way down to here, still inside his playground, right? For the past 1.5 months. Along all of this, there are obviously sells and buy opportunities in there all along, right? Because we're looking at the daily time frame, especially this leg up provided a lot of opportunities. A lot of them happened during Asia. I personally cannot trade Asia because of how my routine is, but there were multiple opportunities on this, right? Now, if I take you to 240, or even if we remain on the daily, doesn't matter. This right here is a very beautiful visual resistance that everyone, retail, me, you, my neighbor, everyone is selling from, right? We're just, comes up to the resistance, we sell, 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 sell. Try to sell, what happens? I bet you that there are going to be a lot of people who sold it here. Look at it, what a strong resistance, right? A lot of people who sold here. But what happened? What happened to their stop losses? Just got gobbled up right away with a very sharp move. What happens when this very sharp move happens? Every single person who was selling is turned into a buyer now. Of course, they cannot get in on this buy because, they're afraid of what happened to their sells, and it's still under this, so it could still sell. But what happens afterwards? It puts in higher highs and higher lows, right? Enticing people to join in on the buy side. So the buyers have been introduced into the market. Now, as every Tom, Dick, and Harry who was looking to sell initially at this point starts to look into buys, that is when the bigger seller wants to sell. Now, he just doesn't sell because this sharp move that happened needs to be needs to be absorbed, right? It cannot just return and go. If it goes, that's a different story. But uh, generally, this sharper move needs to be digested. Now, if I take you even lower on a time frame and explain a few things, take a look at this. As the price starts to buy from all the way down to here, let me just get rid of all of these brushes. Okay, here we go. As the price starts to buy from all the way down here, right? Buyer comes in, holds higher high, holds higher high. It's this buyer's territory. He holds higher high, 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 where this buyer buys, and 100% death, right? 100% death of the buyer. Well, you'd say that that happened here too, but take a look at how different the momentum is. How different the momentum is on this, right? 100% death followed by lower high, no lower low, of course, another lower high, and a lower low. All the way, as soon as it starts to buy and goes all the way up to there. Focus on how this is the first time the buyer is fading out. This buyer, this is the first time the buyer is fading out, right? But you cannot hit the sell up there. I cannot, because you're still inside this buyer's playground. As the price comes down into this area, tries to go, cannot go, makes a lower low, goes through this buyer. I was really interested in selling this here. It did not give me an entry. If I take you to a lower time frame, uh, we talked about how how buyers need to be introduced into the markets where everyone is a sell, sell, sell. When the buyer comes in, that is when the bigger seller is going to be interested, right? So the buyers, basically everyone turned into a buyer here. Did not give an entry afterwards. I would want to see a test and then, but it did not happen. But the risk to reward on this, if I did have an entry, the targets on this are at least up till here, if not lower. So the basic idea of showing you is this. So our daily is a seller, right? Starts to buy. Daily is a seller, starts to buy, keeps buying. This is where 240 turns into a buyer, but daily still a seller. Keep that in mind. And then this is where 60 and 15 turn into sellers, probably 242. So 15 minutes, even if you treat it as a 15-minute trade or a 60-minute trade, does not make a lot of difference because it's the same uh, new seller that came in, where every single person is looking to buy, and the price is all the way down to here. It's a buy. This is where the read of the market comes in. This is where you got to understand how the pullback is coming in and stuff like that. That's all a different story. But just wanted to show you that these bigger moves do happen. These bigger moves do give you a chance to be in on them, but not this time, maybe the next time. So I want to see a pullback on this probably until Friday, because hopefully we do have NFP this Friday. Let's just take a look. Uh, Friday we have not NFP, but we do have a lot of news coming up. So there could be pullback, and then we should be able to get in on the bandwagon. Let's hope so. All right, just wanted to show you guys this, that the opportunities do present themselves if you know what's happening, and how the price is reacting and is going to move. Stay tuned for more. Cheers.